Well, good evening all. I'm Brett Hudson here, Huddy Sports, and also coming live with the Wellington Rugby Referees Association. Tonight at the Churchill Bar of Lambton Quay in Wellington, we're having a special night. We're honouring one of our referees that has done a lot of achievements, and in September he is going off to the Rugby World Cup in Japan as one of the two referees refereeing. The other one is Paul Williams, and I'm joined here today, Ben O'Keefe. Ben, well done on your Rugby World Cup selection. Where were you at the time, and how did you feel when you were announced as going to the World Cup as a referee?
So I was at home here in Wellington. I was in my dressing gown. It was in the morning. I got called up by our World Rugby referees boss, Alain Roland, so evening time over there in Dublin. And it was the morning I was about to referee, I think, the Hurricanes versus the Crusaders here at the stadium. And so yeah, he gave me the news. I knew that the news was going to come out that week. So I was pretty nervous, Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday, and then finally, I think Friday morning, he gave me the call. I answered the phone and he said, "Look, you've booked yourself a ticket." So I was pretty stoked.
It's pretty amazing within your short international refereeing career to go to a World Cup. It's pretty outstanding. And speaking about international test matches, how many test matches have you refereed? And I believe you have a test match coming up very soon.
Yeah, I sort of kept count of the first few test matches I did. Unfortunately, I've done quite a few now since then. But I do believe that the one coming up next week is my 15th test match. It's between Australia and Argentina. So third time that I've been involved in the Rugby Championship, and I'm pretty excited for that game.
And so Super Rugby this year, you had some pretty good games. You had the Crusaders on 2 occasions against the Hurricanes. What was your, one, your most excitable game, but two, your toughest game?
I was quite lucky. I had a lot of games, a lot of New Zealand derbies. And I think, as we watch rugby over here in New Zealand, those games are normally quite high pace, a lot of action. So I was involved in a lot of those games, which was really good. It meant that I didn't have to travel too far away from home. If I think back on my season, I think, look, a lot of them were really good challenges. I think I was lucky enough to go to Suva in Fiji and referee the Crusaders against the Chiefs. And for me, that was just an amazing game. Really amazing atmosphere with all the local Fijians coming out supporting the game. And it was one of those games that I was able to sort of set up early and then basically just let the skills of the players take over. And they did it for a whole 80 minutes. And it was a fantastic game. So for me, that was probably the biggest, most exciting game that I've had this year. But certainly, I did about 9 or 10 games this year, and I think all of them pretty good.
Yep. Fantastic. So tell us how you got into refereeing. You're a product of a very famous boys' school down there in Marlborough Boys High School, Blenheim Boy. But tell us how you got into refereeing and whereabouts you refereed prior to coming to Wellington.
Yeah, so very famous, Marlborough Boys College. We had quite a good first 15 back in the day, and I think they're doing quite well at the moment as well. Yeah. So I played Colts rugby and played for first 15 college. I can't say I was an amazing player. But what I also did is that my dad refereed at Marlborough as well. So often I would hold the flag for him and run the ball over him. And I think I first put on a Marlborough referee jersey in an under 15 tournament many years ago. But it wasn't until I went to university in Dunedin that I picked up the sort of full time as I was studying at med school. So it's what I did in the weekends. It kept me involved, kept me fit, kept me part of the game. And from then on, I was able to, fortunately progress through the levels, and I used to call it my job now.
It's a fantastic career, rugby refereeing. You can go many far places indeed, such as this man here. So think about some other things here, Ben. Your profession prior to being a referee was a doctor.
Yeah.
Tell us about what that involved.
I graduated from Otago Med School, came up to Wellington and finished my first year off. You sort of go through all the different specialties, trying them out, medicine, surgery, general practice. I quickly realised that I really liked surgery, and then I sort of fell into the specialty of ophthalmology, which is eye medicine and surgery, which I absolutely just fell in love with, and it was a great career choice. And I was able to balance the two of them for a while, until a point where I got offered a full-time contract with New Zealand Rugby, and unfortunately the Wellington Hospital and the eye department there, they really supported me to make that transition, and I still work there when I'm back in Wellington, just doing the clinics and helping out as much as I can. So ophthalmology, so eye medicine, that's what I do. I test people's vision, so it's quite funny when people say things about my vision and I'm making it simple on the rugby field.
Well, there's certainly a lot of blind referees out there. It's probably one reason why I became a commentator. But so Ben, who were particular role models for you when you were refereeing, and what did you learn from them?
There was a lot of referees that I grew up watching. It wasn't really until I started refereeing that I started looking at them as referees, how they were on the field, how they talked to players, positioning what they were like. But names that sort of come to mind were guys like Wayne Barnes, Craig Joubert, closer to home, referees like Colin Hawke, Ross Lawrence, and then I was lucky enough to work with one individual, Glenn Jackson, I've done a lot of refereeing with as an assistant referee. And then as I got to the level of Super Rugby and Internationals, we both worked together on games, refereeing and being an assistant as well. So all those individuals helped me out, whether directly through advice they've given me or indirectly with just the way I watch them and the things that I added to my game from the rugby.
That's fantastic. And so Ben, when do you go out to Japan? Do you know what the first game is yet?
Well, we've actually just come back from Japan. We had a 3-day meeting over there with all the World Rugby referees involved in the tournament, so it was really good. We had 2 days of just technical sessions on, about the law, clarity around any new changes that are coming in. And then, so we have a few test matches leading into when we go to the World Cup, and that's on until the 31st of August. Now, I head to the UK first, so I referee England vs Italy in a pre-World Cup game, and then I shoot directly to Japan for kick-off, which is in September.
So certainly a lot of travelling as a referee, and no doubt, Ben, we wish you all the best in Japan, and everyone wants the All Blacks to make the final and win it again for the third time, but a lot of us here in Wellington want to see you actually referee the final. It would be good to see a New Zealander out there. There hasn't been one yet, the World Cup final. So no rule rugby, don't like it, Ben, but cheers.
Cheers, mate.
All the best.
Thanks, Fred.
All good. And this is Wellington Rugby Referees and Huddy Sports coming out of this. And also this year it's 125 years of rugby refereeing in Wellington, so get behind it.